Hot take.
Hello, Team Sanity. All members of the coalition are the same, the Pro Reality Army. Welcome to another COTS Hot Take, hashtag COTS, and I am happy to be here. And for those who've watched some of the other hot takes, you probably realize that they're based on current events and how that specific event might apply to the week before, the week after, or even to that current day. And I'm fortunate because I have a background in data analytics. I have a background in algorithmic warfare. As a former congressman, former senior technical advisor to the January 6th committee. Maybe the only person on the planet who's seen the J6 data and the Hunter Biden data. As you all know, I did the forensics on a lot of Hunter Biden's devices. So I've been very fortunate to see massive amounts of data, to know the players involved, and to have an intelligence background and training that allows me to see what information operations looks like, what information warfare looks like, but also what Christian nationalism looks like based on my upbringing, based on the fact I sort of wrote a book about it, right, called The Breach. All these things allow me, I think, based on my training, to analyze the situation quickly. And, my performance hasn't been bad. Not too bad anyway. So I started thinking about what's happening today, and it's not a specific current event, but what is that undercurrent that's really highlighting the current events happening today and some of the batshittery that you see out there. And so I started thinking about the person that maybe besides Donald Trump is the most dangerous when it comes to the message that he's pushing out there, whether it's Donald Trump wearing a Q pen, whether it's him having the J6 defendants sing the national anthem, his implication that immigrants are trying to take over America, the border issues, the nativism, the racism, the xenophobia, and really his appeal to Christian nationalists, which has been something that hasn't been a big surprise, but it's been overt. So who is number two? Who does number two work for? Who is it? Well, for me, and I don't know if all of you agree, but let me explain. It's former three-star General Mike Flynn. Yes, the former DIA commander. He likes to self-identify as somebody who has a incredible knowledge of information operations and information warfare. So I bought a book that he wrote that I think should scare the hell out of people. And that book, if you don't know about it, is this one right here. You can see my markers in there. It's a Citizen's Guide to Fifth Generation Warfare, 5GW. And what's really interesting is the back cover, which you can already see sort of his hints towards his conspiratorial nature, which is humanity's fight against globalism. And so I took this entire book. As you can see, it's actually a tactical book, which is really interesting to me. If you look at the size of it, it can fit in your pocket. If you have a big cargo pocket, if you're on Meal Team 6, right, or something like that, or you're a Gravy SEAL, you can fit it into your big ass cargo pocket on your pants. You can put it in your ruck, right? It almost is shaped like an actual guide or like a field guide because he was Army and I was military, so I know what these look like. But it's small, it's tactical. So there's some of the things in here though that you really need to be worried about, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that he writes this as a warning to the America First individuals that this is what's being used against them, but this is actually a guide to use these type of techniques against the government, against you and me, against us individuals who don't support Trump, who aren't America First as defined by them, or not MAGA. How do I know this? Because he says it in the book. Pretty crazy. So usually when you see people write books like this to say they're defending from something, this is actually an offensive book. It is actually for use by individuals to go against the deep state, the globalists, the Satan worshipers, the shadow government, which he defines in here. And by the way, so I ran this book through artificial intelligence, and it came out with an incredible conclusion. You know what it said after I ran it? It said, Mike Flynn is a crazy motherfucker. That's what it actually said. So let's start reading some of this so you can get an idea of what's coming at you or what he's warning about as far as who you are as a person. If you're not on the far right, I'm not talking about independents or center right Republicans. I'm talking about America First individuals. So I want to make that clear. So, firstly, what's really incredible is that he tries to hit pop culture references. So he talks about paranoia in his Citizen's Guide to Fifth Generation Warfare. Guess who he quotes? Post Malone. I think it was just in the video with Taylor Swift. So now you have Mike Flynn linked to Post Malone to Taylor Swift, which I think is pretty funny. But I guess Post Malone had a song called Paranoid where he said, a paranoid man makes paranoid plans. That's what he says here. In that, he's talking about the target audience and how the target audience needs to be engaged, or how we are being engaged as a target audience by the globalists and deep state operatives. So he starts, right near the front of the book by trying to get a pop culture reference in there. So he also defines psychological actions. He defines the cognitive battle space and terrain, state and non state actors, all kinds of crazy stuff. But then he actually defines shadow governments. So, we have an issue when you have a former general that's defining shadow governments in a serious way. We have a problem with a former general defining shadow governments in a serious way when he's talking about us getting attacked by, globalist, deep state, and Satanists in this fifth generation warfare book. Here's what he says: the shadowy government comprises state and non state actors with clandestine intentions that influence the standing government that is in plain view. They are largely supported by politicians and government agency officials and bureaucrats who've been compromised or indoctrinated first to protect and then to enable a globalist agenda to support the creation of can you guess? A new world order. Yeah, he's selling this for, I think, about 25 bucks. So if I go to the next craziness thing here, which I've been really wanting to get to here, because we don't have a whole lot of time, is he talks about uniparty representatives. So when you're looking at this book, he's talking about how the uniparty or globalists, Satanists, the deep state are attacking us because mostly our two-party system, or in many other government systems, that two-party system is actually one party that's working together to indoctrinate us or to control us or to bring socialism, I don't know, or to drink the blood of babies. So he talks about uniparty representatives and members of the major political parties who combine into a clandestine alliance. First sentence. He also talks about country first representatives, which he then actually transitions to, let's see, America first representatives. Now, this is where it gets crazy. So now you're about a third or a fourth through the book. Sorry, you can hear the pages turning, but here's where it gets a little bit nuts. So he talks about America First as a special interest group that was started in 1940. The America First Committee had a stance of staying out of World War II, citing the Monroe Doctrine that was against intervention into European affairs, and were mired by claims of anti Semitism. They were anti Semitic. However, the AFC was dissolved in 1941 after the attack at Pearl Harbor. They encouraged the 800,000 members to support the war effort. Here's where it comes down to crazy. Really, what he says is that the Uniparty is actually sort of against the America First Party. This book is incredible. You have chapter 3, which is Make Ready. I hope you heard that. Make Ready. You have a little section on psychographics. PSYOP is weaponized sociology. So as you're going through your life and you're thinking everything's normal, well, for a major part of the population, it sure is, because their normal is defined by this. This book is dangerous. Why is it dangerous? Because it comes in the guise of defense against a uniparty and globalist system, but it's actually an attack vector. It talks about attack modalities against the very individuals that they want to overthrow because the uniparty is after you. It worries me. It worries me that we have these huge rallies. We have what's going on at Mar-a-Lago. We have all the crazy that's happening. And there's actually manuals being written right now that defines how those attack vectors should work in an information operations space against people like me and you. But it also defines the me and yous, or the people not in the America First sort of bubble or in the MAGA bubble, as the enemy, and maybe already overtaken by the uniparty globalists or maybe reptilian humanoids. Who the hell knows? But the warning that I have to you today on my hot take is understand your enemy. They're talking about us as an enemy, or you as an enemy, or anybody that goes against Donald Trump as an enemy. It's incredible. It's insane. So as they're writing books about defense, it's about offense. And you need to know that these individuals, people like Mike Flynn, you're in their target vector. You are their targeted individuals, their targeted population. Thanks. Welcome to another hot take on Coalition the Sane. Have a great day. I'll catch you on the flip, and let's get to work.